Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a happy new year. Just wanted to come on here and talk about I've seen a few videos and I've seen these videos. I've seen a few of these people talking about Generation X people. I'm a Generation X. Have I talked about it? No, because it doesn't really matter to me. I respond differently to a lot of the stuff that's going on. I don't understand a lot of the parenting that's going on and the way people think that they need to give their kids everything that they need or what they haven't had when they were a kid. And I don't understand that whole concept. It's not about materialistic things with your kids. You just need to raise them with good morals and values and make them understand that it takes hard work to make your kid a good person and to achieve things and not just have instant gratification. That's the whole thing with these participation awards. Really? You don't need to have a participation award. You need to have a winning award if you're the number one person that won the contest. There can't be participation awards and try to set certain standards with our kids. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to actually earn it. And that's the whole problem with what's went on with all this DEI stuff and you know, everybody should have a chance. Well, if you're not qualified for the job, you shouldn't be able to. Sorry. Everybody should have a chance if you have the qualifications for that particular job. You shouldn't just be let in because you need to have a chance. And it's one thing with this whole thing with, you know, I've never thought that college was anything. I didn't think I needed to go to college, and I have been a very successful person without going to college. So, and I think there's a lot of people that have become millionaires and everything else, and they don't even have a high school degree, high school education, I should say, not degree. But and so when people talk about Generation X and these people that are going on and I'm in Generation X and we had to do this and we had to do that, they act like it was. Some of my best memories as being a kid is, you know, being around my grandparents and learning things. And, you know, that's one of the big things. I think if you have nurturing parents that want to be involved in your life, I think that's when the kid develops a level of respect for their parents. And that's when you're nurturing with them and teaching them things and not just giving them everything and just giving them things to just be away from them and not be involved. And that's a big thing. I think parents, I don't think a lot of parents, they want to have kids, but I don't understand a lot of times when people have kids. I don't understand that. I don't understand. I never wanted kids, didn't want the responsibility. I have dogs instead. And my mom used to say, oh, you'd be such a good father. No, I wouldn't be, Mom. I wouldn't. I was raised by you. I would be a hard ass. I'd be even worse to my kids. And I knew that. I didn't want to have the responsibility for one. I mean, it's basically a lifelong responsibility. I don't care what they say when, oh, you only have 18 years with them, so you need to enjoy the time. It's like, no, they're pretty much a lifelong responsibility. That's the way I feel. And that's the whole thing with these people that are upset at their kids because they're still living at home at 25, 20. Oh, well, they can't afford to live. Well, no, they could if they really wanted to live. But the fact of the matter is they've had everything handed to them, so they expect their parents to contribute. And yes, I'm not saying Southern California, it's cheap to live here. It's definitely not. But it can be attainable if you work hard and find the right place. Doesn't mean you have to live in these fancy, expensive cities. There's places that are, you know, but kids don't want to live there. So they would rather just live with their parents. And their parents are the ones that have enabled them to do that. You know, I moved out when I was 20. And it was only because I was moving to California and I wanted to save money. And I did. I worked 2 summers before I decided to move to California. So I had money to spend and it was interesting. But I'm just saying, all these videos that are circulating about Generation X and we did this and we were made to stay outside. We had to stay outside. We couldn't come inside. Bull. I mean, yeah, our parents encouraged us to play outside, and we did. And we found our own entertainment. Did we not have video games? Of course we had video games. You know, Miss Pac-Man, used to play it at the KOA. Had to earn my allowance so I could go play on the video games. It was 25 cents a game at the time. And that's, you know, I did have a couple video games that I played on a TV downstairs in my basement, but that wasn't my main source of entertainment. I would have rather been on a bicycle, going on a bike ride, or going on a motorcycle ride in the backcountry. That's what I did for fun and adventure. And but I learned that at a very early age. You know, I learned to drive a motorcycle when I was 4. I couldn't even reach the ground. And my dad used to sit on the back of the motorcycle and let it go, and I'd go and ride all around, and then I'd beep the horn, come back around, and he'd come out, and I'd slow way down, and he'd just stop the motorcycle, and I'd get off, and that was it. I learned to drive a car when I was 5. We had 10 acres to play on in town, and I learned to drive a car when I was 5. I used to have two big, huge old phone books that would push up against me, and I'd be on the edge of the seat. I could barely, and I think I even sat on one so I could see out. But that's when I learned. It was fun. It was fun. Nowadays it'd probably be considered child endangerment, but I don't think it, I think that's the whole thing, is we're too sensitive to, you know, did we wear seatbelts? No, we didn't wear seatbelts. I started wearing seatbelts when I got my own car, and I started wearing seatbelts, but we didn't wear seatbelts. You know, and in my hometown, we never took our keys out of the car. We'd go to the grocery store, the keys would be in the car, the windows would be down, the guns would be in the gun rack. That's the way it was. You know, it was more or less people respected other people's things. You know, later on, it got worse because people just didn't respect other people's things. And I'm not saying that there wasn't theft or stuff. There was, but it wasn't to the point where you had to lock your car and take your keys out and everything else. I mean, I remember as a kid, I never had a house key. We never locked our house. It was always unlocked. Nowadays, people are locking their houses because people are breaking into their houses, stealing, and it's mostly prescription drugs, and it's mostly done by a lot of kids. I mean, there are some adults, but it's just interesting how it was different being a Generation X. Was it a bad time? No. I learned a lot, and I learned how to work, and I learned how to get my own things, make my own money, and get my own things, and not have my parents. My parents were never, they provided me the food and the love and the house and the clothes and that kind of thing to get me started, but they showed me. You know, they showed me what good morals and values are, and have a good work ethic, and that's not the way you do it. And I remember my dad yelling at me one time because I was late to go to work, and he said, you need to be there 10 minutes before. And the agreement was with my boss is I didn't need to be there at 8 o'clock. I needed to start it by 8:30. But my dad thought that he would chime in, and I said, okay, that's fine. So I left 10 minutes early, even though I wasn't going to go to my work. But, you know, my dad wanted to try to have some influence, and it's like, I have an agreement with my boss, and this is the agreement. So anyway, but my parents did have a good influence on me. And did I not get spanked? Yes, I believe in spanking. I think the thing about it is we've gone so sensitive, and it's like, it's not that I don't have feelings. I have feelings, but do my feelings get hurt over the stupidest things? No, I'm a strong person. And I think that's what's going on is everybody's so offended by everything. It's like, yeah, sometimes I'm offended by certain things, but for the most part, no, I'm not offended by anything. You can call me anything. But I will say on this channel, I don't like it when people just assume that I'm this or that, and then they make a comment about it. Does it offend me? No, it just pisses me off, because it's like, you don't know me as a person, and you're going to sit here and make a comment on a total stranger just because this is the way I handled it. And I think that's what the big thing. I don't mind people making a comment on my content, but when they make a comment on my personality or my character or that kind of thing, thinking that they're going to get a reaction. That's why I said you can attack me all you want. Are you going to get a response? Not necessarily. And am I going to listen to what you're trying to convince me of your morals and values? You know, you can say all you want, just like the Christian video that I did. And this one person kept commenting, saying that I was not doing this and I didn't do that right, and I'm not doing that. And it's like, no, dude, that's what a born-again Christian would do. And you're definitely a born-again Christian. You're not a true Christian. You don't understand the whole thing with the Bible, church, and the pastors and all that other stuff. And that's fine. That's your view on it. But he tried to convince me otherwise. And I finally just had to stop commenting. I don't need to have somebody try to convince me of something I already know. And I learned it as a 5-year-old, not as a 57-year-old. So that's why I think it's funny with all these people. And a lot of other people have the same view of what they view a born-again Christian too. So I know I'm not the sore thumb out there, because I know a lot of other people think the same way. But I digress on that. But let me know in the comments what you think about the Generation X videos that are going on. And if you're a Generation X and how you perceived it. Like I said, I was born and raised in a rural area in Wyoming. And yeah, it was different. It was definitely different. And even today, kids are being raised in that area differently than they were when I was a kid. Totally different. And it's sad. It's sad because there are no morals and values. The work ethic is not the same. We're just going to, live off our parents. But that's what I say with you. Your parents that want to complain about your kids, it's all in how you raise them. And if you have respect for your kid and your kid respects you and you taught them the right thing, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of these new parents don't know how to raise kids because they weren't raised the right way. And they're trying to do things that weren't done in their childhood, and they're combining what they think and what the way they were raised, and they weren't raised the right way, so they're just continuing on. Each generation's doing the same thing over and over and over, and that's not good. You have to have change, and you have to do right and set morals and values and have the level of respect with your kids if you're going to have kids, and be engaging with them, not just pawn them off on an electric bike and have them go disturb people in the neighborhood. That's what's happening here. I mean, it's slowed down quite a bit, but yeah, if you're going to have kids, you need to engage with them. So anyway, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.